Are you feeling anxious? Stay tuned as I share some tips, tools, and resources to help you handle anxiety.
Welcome to the podcast where mental health is at the core of what we focus on. We strive to develop people like you to maximize who you are and what you've been called to do by sharing tools and resources for better brain health. And now here's your host, Juan Garcia.
Welcome to the podcast where we focus on mental health and peak performance. Today is Monday, which means it's Mindfulness Monday. And what I want to focus on today is anxiety. Now, today there are a lot of people that may feel like they're kind of experts in this topic because 2020 has brought a whole lot of stress and a whole lot of anxiety. And I'm sure a lot of you that are probably listening to my voice right now have Googled anxiety and Googled all the symptoms and all of the underlying components that have to do with anxiety, and perhaps you've been self-diagnosed, or maybe you have actually dealt with anxiety to the point where you've had to see a healthcare professional. And so I want to make sure that I bring the most accurate information when it comes to this topic, because it's important to know how serious this topic is and all of the effects that we have to deal with if we're feeling any type of anxiety. Now, there's a lot of anxiety that we can feel that can be labeled normal. Anxiety, when we define it, is really this overwhelming sense of uncontrollable feeling, and it's always connected to something that is unknown, or maybe we know about it, so we've been stressing about it, but we don't know the outcome. And so there's always an element of the unknown. We don't know how it's going to end. We don't know how it's going to be. We don't know how we're going to feel. We don't know how someone is going to react. All of those unknowns are usually connected to anxiety. And I think the issue with anxiety is that sometimes we're not aware it affects all of us. Meaning, not only does it affect us emotionally, it affects us physiologically or physically, and it also affects us spiritually. Now, you may be listening or watching and you're not a Christian, you're not a churchgoer. You may be saying to yourself, well, I'm really an atheist. Hey, anxiety still affects our spirituality. Now, whether you believe in God or whether you believe that there is no God, you have a spiritual component to yourself. For example, if you have thoughts, your thoughts exist in the spiritual realm. They are not physical. Now, thoughts create physical aspects in your brain, but before they do that, they are spiritual. They are unseen. You can't see them. Your emotions, you can't see them or feel them until you actually do feel them, because they exist in the spiritual realm. So regardless of your faith, you have a spiritual aspect of who you are. And so anxiety affects all of us, not only all of us, but also all of us, if that makes sense. And the reason why I point that out is because sometimes we may neglect an area where anxiety is affecting us, and we want to make sure that we're targeting every area that we are being affected by anxiety. Now, because of the fact that we don't know a lot of the things that we're dealing with today, we don't know who will be president, we don't know who is going to help us end this pandemic. We don't know where or when or how the restrictions are going to look like in 6 months. We don't know what school necessarily is going to look like. Even if you're deciding to go to school a couple of days a week or just do online, it still affects us because we really just don't know how it's going to turn out. There's some jobs that you may be dealing with that you don't know how it's going to be, whether it's remote, whether it's at the office, and all these restrictions. So there's a lot of unknown. So anxiety is affecting all of us. Now, let's talk about how anxiety affects us physically. So when you're overwhelmed emotionally, it starts to pour out into your physical body. And one of the things that I know that you and I can do in order to help manage the effects of anxiety in our physical body is making sure that we exercise. Now, I'm not saying join a gym. I'm not saying, do all of this preparedness for a marathon or anything like that. All I'm saying is move your body. Take a walk. Begin with that. Every day, do that for at least 30 minutes. An hour would be optimal. Keep your body in motion. Do different movements with your body as you're walking. Make sure that you're keeping your arms flowing. You want your heart rate to go up. You want to make sure that your body is not dormant, that is not stagnant, is not sedentary. Those issues begin to affect our cardiovascular system. And so that's why exercise is important. When we don't have a flow of a workout or an exercise where our bloodstream is being pumped in and pumped out, where our heart rate is going up and then coming back down, where the oxygenation, remember, our oxygen is in our blood. And so if the blood is not pumping and is not moving, then oxygen is also not moving in our body. And so we need that for physical optimal health. We need to continue to stay active. And I know it's been hard with the pandemic, but you can go outside, you can do jumping jacks, you can run in place, you can do a lot of things, knee lifts. There's a lot of things that you can do in order to do some type of exercise. Number 2, make sure that you are eating the right things. Now, I am not a dietitian, I am not a nutritionist, but I know that our bodies are all different and we need certain foods for the optimization of our body function. And what may be good for you may not be good for me. And so, like, for example, me, I do not do well with sodium. Anything that's very salty, not only is it hard for me to eat, but my body does not like it. I do not do well with dairy, even though once in a while I like to dunk my cookies in milk. And I like certain things that, like ice cream and things like that. But I cannot have that in order for me to feel good and my body to respond the way I want it to respond. So I have to know that about my body. It's not whether it's good or it's bad, it's just what is right for my body. So you're the only one that knows that. If you've been seeing a physician, if you've been seeing a nutritionist or a dietitian, then they also would be encouraging you and telling you what your body needs. And so make sure that you know and you're aware, what is it that your body likes? What is it that your body rejects? What is it that your body accepts but does not give you the optimal, performance that you want it to give to you in everyday life? Okay, so you want to make sure you exercise. You want to make sure you're eating the right things, and also you want to make sure you're getting the rest that your body needs. This includes sleep. So let me separate them two. There's a difference between resting and sleeping. Obviously, our bodies can only take so much, so eventually we tire out and we fall asleep. That doesn't mean that you're actually resting. So throughout the week, there are days that you may be going to sleep for 3 to 4 hours, and other days you're sleeping more than that. You want to make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, which includes REM sleep. This is the type of sleep that you actually surrender, if you will, to the depths of what sleep can give you, which also includes rest. You want to make sure you get that, because if you're not getting sleep or rest or both, then your systems in your body, because remember, our bodies are made up of systems. When you don't rest enough or sleep enough, your systems don't reset to where they're supposed to reset. They don't restart where they're supposed to be. And so you're constantly bogging down the different systems in your body. So you want to make sure you get enough rest. You want to make sure you're sleeping. And you may be saying, well, I have a brand new baby, or my job is difficult, I have weird hours. Whatever the reason you think you can convince yourself that is not allowing you to do this, you have to find a way. Whether it's partnering with someone, whether it's trying to do less of what you know is hindering your sleep or your rest. TV, gaming, maybe other activities that you're involved in that maybe you should do without, at least for a season, so that you can actually rest and get sleep, because this is important for your optimal health. I cannot say that enough. And anxiety is just revving up your unhealthy body and mind to the T. So if you're not getting all those things at a 5, now you add anxiety, now you're at a 10 with unhealth, and literally your days begin to be cut short. So you don't want to do that. Let's talk about the effects of anxiety in the brain. We talked about stress a couple of episodes ago, and stress is one of those things that activates your amygdala, the fight, flight, or freeze. Your amygdala responds right away. Now, when you respond or you flee or you freeze to whatever thing or event is happening, that's your amygdala. It starts to secrete all of those hormones so that you can do whatever you feel that you need to do. But your hippocampus, which is another area of your brain, that actually is the one that begins to code it, to store it, to say, this is how he or she feels, or this is what they do when this happens. And your hippocampus is coding that information so that it is stored, so that if that continues to happen, you can respond the same way. And what happens is, when you add anxiety to stress, your brain is acting and overworking itself to do these things for you naturally, because that's what it was created to do, but it's doing it at a higher speed, and eventually it would wear out. Eventually, these are the causes of things like dementia and Alzheimer's disease, because it starts to wear out the brain cells that you should be using on a healthier way or a healthier basis. When you overwork that, when you overstimulate, when you work the different glands that we are accustomed to depending on, it creates unhealth, it creates chaos, and the longevity of that is brain health issues like dementia, like Alzheimer's disease. These things that we don't even realize we are already forming, or that they're developing in us, until it is too late. You and I don't want to wait until we're in our 50s, 60s, and 70s for a diagnosis, when we know that we can potentially be developing that today with our lifestyle. So you want to make sure that you're staying active and exercising. You want to make sure that you're eating the right things for your body. And you want to make sure that you're resting and you're sleeping, because your body is made of systems, and the systems need to rest so that it can reset and give you the optimal function that it knows how to do when it is properly resting and reset it the way God intended it for it to be. Okay, so that's the physical aspect. The spiritual aspect, so there's different ways that we can attack this. Anxiety is a real thing. And so because of the different ways it affects us, we need to see it for what it is, and it's serious. Now, it is not all physical, it is not all spiritual, and it is not all emotional. It has all of it. It covers all of it. And so we need to target these different areas. So once we discipline ourselves to do the physical aspect of how to handle anxiety, we want to consider the spiritual. And 4 quick things that I know can help to manage anxiety and to deal with it best. Number 1, tune in to God's voice. So if you're a Christian, you're a follower of Jesus, get your Bible out. There's Bible apps now that you can actually download into your different devices. And if you think reading it is, you fall asleep or it's hard, whatever reason that you have, you can actually listen to it now. There's an app called Pray. There's different apps, Calm, different things that you can use to listen, whether it's the sounds of the waves at the beach, whether it's the rain, whatever it is that helps you come to a place of ease. Do that. There's a lot of resources out there. Download it to your phone or to your iPad, and just allow that to help you tune in to God's voice and to hear what God is saying. And now, obviously, if you're a follower of Jesus, then you want to hear the Bible, because that's where God speaks to us, right? He speaks through his word into our hearts, and that affects our minds, and then it affects our behavior. That's one. Secondly, you wanna breathe in and breathe out. Now, I know I've said this in other episodes, but it's important. And when it comes to your spiritual life, what you want to do is when you breathe in, you want to breathe in very deep. You want to make sure that you breathe in deep. Your diaphragm, everything is coming in deep. And when you breathe in, you can say the name of Jesus. You say, Lord Jesus. And then when you breathe out through your mouth, you want to say, have mercy on me, or forgive me, or help me. Whatever cry out you want to have in that prayer, you want to breathe in his name deeply through your nose, and then you want to breathe out through your mouth whatever you're asking the Lord. Okay? So have mercy, help me. Do that for 8 to 10 minutes. I guarantee you that your spirit will allow your physical body to come in alignment and to kind of relax and adjust. Okay, so first you want to tune into God. Second, you want to breathe in. We call it Jesus breaths. That's what we call them. I know it sounds corny, but it works. Okay, try it. If it doesn't work, you let me know in the comments below. Say, man, I tried it for 8 to 10 minutes. It didn't work. Now, if you try it for 2 minutes and it doesn't work, that doesn't apply. Okay. So the third thing that will help you spiritually is be still. There's a Psalm 43. It says, be still and know that I am God. Being still is hard. And what I like to tell people is, if you're sitting somewhere, your back is against the back of either the chair or a wall, and your hands are on your knees or on your thighs, your feet are flat on the ground. And what you want to do is, as you're being still, you want to just consider how your hands are resting on your knees. You want to feel how your back is against whether the back of the chair or a wall. You want to feel how your feet are on the ground. And if you're barefoot, even better. You want to feel that, and you want to feel the stability. You want to feel the balance. You want to feel the rest. You want to feel, let your body go. Don't be tense. Just let your body, let it go down. Let it sit, let it relax, and be still. Be still. Be still. Do that for a few minutes. I guarantee you, your spirit is going to reset and the rest of your body is going to go. And I'm going a little quick because I want you to take these tips and run with them. I don't want you to worry about how long this episode is going to be. I want you to take these tips, write them down, and run with them and put them into practice. The fourth thing that I want you to do and consider for spiritual awareness as it relates to dealing with anxiety is that I want you to be mindful. Mindful. Now, what does that mean? Well, mindfulness, the reason why we're calling it Mondays, we're calling Mondays Mindfulness Mondays, is because we start the week and we kind of just rush through the week and we don't realize things about ourselves. So today, Mindfulness Monday is about anxiety. And what I want you to do is I want you to be mindful of how overwhelmed you are. Be mindful of how things are just getting a little bit out of hand in your life. How that thing or those things or that event or that family or that person is making you feel the way you feel. Be mindful of that. And then be mindful of the fact that you have what it takes to deal with it. You have what it takes to control how it affects you. You have what it takes to put the emotion behind your response to it. With the help of the Lord, with prayer, and with the insight of His Word, His Holy Spirit, you're going to be aware and you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to ignore the fact that I feel this way, but I am going to be mindful of how I'm going to respond. Now, again, if you're a follower of Jesus, you'll know that Jesus, when He was in the Garden of Gethsemane, He had been betrayed. He was praying. He asked the disciples to come with Him and be with Him because He said that my soul is overwhelmed to death. He didn't ignore how He felt. He didn't ignore that He was literally dealing with this idea of dying and dying on a cross. He just said, my soul is over. I am so overwhelmed with how I'm feeling right now that I sense the death that's near. He was real about it. So mindfulness is being real about where you are in the moment. You're not thinking about over there or over there. You're thinking about the moment. Be mindful of that. And also add gratitude to that. Add the things that you do have that are working for you, the things that are in your favor. And then as you are mindful of not only the negative, but the positive, you're going to realize that with all of the other exercises that we've been talking about and spiritual disciplines, you're going to realize that you're going to come to a healthy aspect, and your perspective will change, and your anxiety is going to start to diminish. Okay? And I'll leave you with the emotional aspect of anxiety, because again, it's a real thing. People have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, social anxiety. These are real things. So I am acknowledging that these are real things. So if you feel overwhelmed to a point where you cannot do the basics and you cannot do certain things, please visit a professional healthcare provider that can help you with these things. If you want to make an appointment with myself, in the description below, you're going to see the information where you can do that and you can book an appointment. But please do not ignore these serious things, because it will just make everything worse. You want to acknowledge it. And the way these things that come from the stress that are also connected to anxiety, it affects our emotions, is that we become very, very easily offended. We become easily irritable. We become easily hard to deal with, hard to work with. And so very important that we are mindful of how it's affecting our emotions. And one of the things that we provide when we see people dealing with stress and anxiety is that we provide what's called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And cognitive behavioral therapy is basically helping the individual look at their thoughts and to see whether these thoughts are real or if they are false idols or false beliefs. And then we help them identify them as what they are. And then if they're not real, we replace them with truth. And then we help them understand the truth that will set them free of whatever they're feeling. And that will affect their behavior and their decision making. We also do what's called MBT, which is mindfulness-based therapy. And mindfulness-based therapy is basically just like we shared a little bit the exercise of just being mindful where you are, not focusing on what's to come, not focusing on what happened, focusing on the here and now and how you can move forward with what you have right now. And it's amazing. I mean, obviously there's a lot of work that has to be done. It sounds simple, and in practice it is, but the work is done in terms of the work is hard in terms of how you have to realize that all of this that you were dealing with, now you have to kind of see it differently, and that takes a lot of work. It's not just you snap your finger and now all of a sudden everything makes sense. It's not that easy. So it is work, but it's work that's worth doing for overcoming something like anxiety. And the very last thing that I'll leave with you with is, in order for you to really, really maximize these tools and resources that I'm sharing with you, you have to know your temperament. Now, I know I've been talking about that a lot, and it was a life changer for me personally. That's the only reason why I am so passionate about it. Because once you know your temperament, then you will also know what needs you have innately. You'll know how you're wired. And you'll also know if those needs are not being met. And if those needs are not being met, that could potentially be connected to the anxiety that you're experiencing. Once you realize these needs are not met, this could potentially be connected to the anxiety that I'm feeling, or the stress, or the fear, all of these things, then we can help you make sure that those needs are being met in a healthy way. Make sure that those needs are being met in a way where now you can be at peace and you can feel fulfilled, because there are different temperaments, but there are different areas in our temperament that have needs, and those needs need to be met in a healthy way. And when we realize and are aware of those things, I tell you, it makes a world of a difference. And so all of these other things that we've provided, like exercise and eating the right things and sleep and rest and tuning into God and meditating and being mindful and just being still and knowing, all of these things will all come together to give you a holistic approach on how to handle and manage anxiety. And you'll be surprised the impact it'll make in your life and the people that you love most, which are near to you. So I hope that helps you out. I hope you will put it into practice and you will consider reaching out to us if you need some more help. I can give you tools and resources that are practical that you can put to work right away. And let me tell you, after our first session, when we realize what your temperament is, it's game on. You'll be put to work right away, and you're gonna see the impact of just having that knowledge right away, immediately. You'll see the impact, because you'll be aware of how you're wired, and you'll be aware of the needs that you have and how they're being met, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, and how to do that in the right way. And it's a game changer. So don't be shy. Reach out to us. Everything's confidential. If you reach out to us, we'll have your information. We'll get you your temperament assessment. We'll get you booked into the office so that we can meet. And we have a brand new office, so you want to take advantage of the brand new furniture. You want to take advantage of the opportunity that we have now to be in an office there in Hawthorne, New Jersey. And if you're not nearby and you still want to be able to meet, we can provide a Zoom link where we can do that via Zoom and still provide resources to meet your needs. So until next time, be mindful of the anxiety that you're feeling, and know that there are tools and resources that you can use to overcome and manage and handle your anxiety. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. For more information, visit our website at juangarciaenterprises.com. Our host, Juan Garcia, is available for speaking, coaching, and one-on-one counseling. You can email us at info@juangarciaenterprises.com. Until next time, remember, we only have one mind, so mind yours.